I know it's an important election. I know there's a lot of work that's been had, speaking on a statewide level. The Cray Deeds and Bob McDonnell, obviously the polls are shrinking and Cray Deeds is going up, so it's work done by you all. I'm sure you guys have been out there painting the streets. I also want to acknowledge Bryce Carter. He is I cannot imagine deciding to embark on what he has as an undergraduate. I was here as an undergraduate, and I was heavily involved in student organizations, and also was a double major and finished in 4 years. And I couldn't imagine adding anything more to my plate, let alone running an election. And so my hat's off to him. He'll always have my utmost respect forever. So appreciate it, Bryce. I guess a little bit of bio. My parents, my dad is a Hokie. He came here in the mid-'60s and co-opted and moved down to met my mom at Baton Rouge and brought her back here, and their first home was above the Lyric Theater. And that's where my oldest brother was born. And since then, my dad was a chemical engineer and got his master's in chemical engineering and went off into DuPont world and got into corporate engineering, and I was born in 1980. And so I moved around a little bit, was born in Wilmington, Charlotte, Pittsburgh, finished high school in Richmond, but no matter what, we always came back to Blacksburg every now and then. Came back for football games, reunions. I used to come to Bill Foster's basketball camp here. It was pretty neat. In fact, I still see my roommate around town. His name's B.B. Brown. His dad's the high school coach down in Pulaski, and I always run into him. It's neat to see somebody you knew from 9th grade. But anyway, moving on, I guess I came here by myself in '98. I graduated from Richmond, and I decided, I was business undecided, but management and finance were two majors that really stuck out to me, so I couldn't choose. So I would choose both. And I finished in 2002, and I moved back to Richmond, and I became a financial advisor. And Richmond was where I finished high school. It felt like high school to me, so I had to go somewhere else. I moved to Atlanta on a whim. Sold my house, quit my job, and went down there, and I started working in SunTrust. Pretty whimsical. I'm sure my parents, my dad's the engineer. What are you doing, son? But anyway, got down there and had a good time, met some great people, and had some great corporate experience, not only in the banking world, but through my clients. Ended up hiring me as a CFO for a global company. He was a cosmetic surgeon, and he had an office in Cypress, Greece, in Atlanta, Georgia, and so I was able to manage that and business develop. And through that, got into this other job, and also in the medical profession as a financial director. It's okay, it happens to me all the time.
Phones on silent, please.
Needless to say, after 2007, the event that happened here, a big calling happened for me to come back to Blacksburg. I knew back in my mind I always wanted to go back and get my master's. Virginia Tech has always been a special place to me as well. And so after the event and seeing everything that happened in this community and won the calling and rounding the horses, it just was inspiring to all alumni. And I decided to come back to Blacksburg. It's where I needed to be. And so I got a job at Alumni Relations, and that's where I currently work. And I also am involved in the professional MBA program. So professional MBA program is a 2-year program. It lasts all year. It's on a quarter system. And we meet once a month. It's a 35-person cohort. And this weekend, I actually travel to Richmond. It meets in Roanoke and Richmond. And I finish in August of next year. And so, what else? My bio, you should know this, right? And as an undergraduate, I was heavily involved in community service. Special Olympics and Habitat for Humanity and many different things, and that's what immediately I got involved with when I came back. I ended up finding a home in Strubles Mill, which is a pretty nice neighborhood in Blacksburg. I don't know how I found the house or could afford it, but I somehow did it, and they put me on the Architecture Control Committee. So I serve as an architecture, as one of the 3 people that decide what happens to neighborhoods if people want to build or renovate, and that has to come through me. I'm also on the VT Engaged Steering Committee. I was in Pi Kappa Alpha when I was here in undergraduate. I advise that fraternity today. I serve on the NRV CASA committee, and that's a committee that where they're court-appointed attorneys for child advocates that are abused, and Montgomery County actually has one of the highest abused children in the state of Virginia. Special Olympics, I attend state tournaments, and I'm heavily involved in the community. But what really affected me, and I guess why I'm running for town council here, is one, my love for Blacksburg, but 2, as I've traveled, and I lived in Atlanta, I got to see a lot of different college towns, and then my job in alumni relations, I actually traveled the Southeast, and a lot of the places I go to are college towns where alumni live. And I see progress made in those towns, and I don't see any here. I'm business mind, and I like to see growth, and particularly in the young professional realm. And I'm not seeing that in Blacksburg. I'm the only 30-year-old person here, it seems like at times. But needless to say, something to me struck that I needed to start changing it. And I started talking to people, and I realized the hassles that business owners and small business owners and downtown merchants and what they've gone through. Now, when I came back here, I knew about the story about South and Main. I'm sure you've all heard about it. Walmart was a big deal, and it went to the Virginia Supreme Court. And what happened ends up, the town ended up suing itself. It was an interesting ordeal. A lot of that could have been solved if there was proper planning beforehand. And so, learning more about that situation, and talking to other small business owners and seeing the hassle that they go through, I decided that I'm going to try and make a difference. I attended town gown meetings, and I listened to what the town residents had to say, particularly about students. And one, it frustrated me a little bit because without the students, this town really wouldn't have anything in it. And yet most of the students, most of the town people, and I'm a townie, and I'm involved in Rotary and all different other kind of organizations where these folks that have been here for 30 years, most of their input is, thank God the students are gone, I'm glad that they're back, I'm not, they don't like the traffic or the ordeal. And I think that's a short-sighted view. And a lot of that also stems, this is my student speech, obviously, but this is fact. I don't understand, since I've left and come back, noise violations have gone to $300, $500, and $1,000 for your third offense. That to me is just, I don't understand that. It seems to be a racket. It's based on reasonable person. Well, that language is gone, but still based on reasonable person because there's no noise detector, and it's things that I don't understand why they feel like they can gouge a student. It's a short-sighted view. I work in alumni relations. I want everyone to have the best experience when they're here in Blacksburg. So when they come back, there's obviously a paint picture. Anybody that I graduated with, they all are envious that I'm here. You're back in Blacksburg. That's how they remember it. But I see the way that some of the issues that the town has put on the students, and it's troubling to me. There's a student hotline that people can call, that townies can call in. There's no rude townie hotline that people could call and say, this guy was rude to me. And so it's funny, but it's true. I mean, they really, you're not 18-year-old or suffragists, you're students. But that's wrong. You're here 10 months out of the year, and you have a direct reflection to what goes on. You live here, and so you should be able to, obviously you're taking part in it. You're here and you're listening to me, and I appreciate that. But yeah, you have a direct reflect of what can go on and how you see Blacksburg happens when you leave. How many of you would want to stay here in Blacksburg once you graduate? Yeah, where would you work? Where would you work? Where would you work? I mean, where would you work and get paid a salary that you think you deserve, $40,000, $50,000? This area as a whole, and bringing in the governors, they all say that Southwest Virginia has 2 minutes left. Oh God. They all say that this is the place, and it's booming, that it's going to happen where jobs are going to be created. Well, with this current town council that I've seen, and maybe I should go into some more solid points here, the attitude and the regional cooperation that they've had with Montgomery County and Christiansburg, it's very, very short-sighted. It's cards to the chest. It's not communication, and I don't understand it because then we need to start thinking as a region as a whole on a more national thing. This could be the next little Silicon Valley. It really could. You have a quality of life. You have beautiful, tranquil mountains, and you have it's just what people want to be at. A lot of people. And I mean, for instance, the CEO of Google said that tech is the most wired community he's ever been in. How can we leverage that? How can we attract the entrepreneurial spirit here to Blacksburg? And it starts, one, with a diverse tax base. There's nothing to do here in Blacksburg besides go to Tots, as I alluded to earlier. Rivermill, yeah, I go there. That's where you find me, Rivermill, because it has a very good beer selection. You can quote me on that, I guess.